trans rights. Their stories, successes, and alleged victimhood feature prominently across mainstream media. Yet, there is a side of their stunning and brave journey which has not gained similar recognition, and that is the impact their choice has upon their partners and children. You will hear testimonies from the wives and children of men who transition.
So being a woman is within your brain and what's in your heart, girl. You know what I mean? And your spirit. And your mother spirit, bitch.
It is not about physicality. Woman is something far deeper and far more complex than that.
Got nothing in my brain. Got nothing in my brain.
If you talk about this, you're ruining the fiction, and the fiction is very immersive for the trans-identified person. It's really precious to them. And so the narrative of the family members or the loved ones becomes forbidden. It becomes something that you're not allowed to say. You know, this man has been on this hero's journey. He's reinvented himself. He's come out like a phoenix or a butterfly or something like that. And he's now this beautiful woman. And there's this bitch who is saying, no, that's not my story. This is my story too. You know, I married a man. You fathered my children. And she has to be silenced.
The man's trans identity really starts to run the show. It becomes the center of gravity in the relationship, and everything is second to that.
When we first got married, I was the only one working. He sat at home watching porn. When he was finally working, it financially made more sense for me to stay home with our kids. Like, even though I wasn't sleeping and I was pregnant or nursing for 6 years straight, and he never once woke up for a feeding or any of those things, and I did all the house stuff. Like, we separated out by sex stereotypes. I'd see bills coming in from our bank account from makeup companies and clothing things, and he said he had to have these things. I couldn't buy diapers and pads at the same time. I had to make choices like that.
You have to realise that your dad has fallen in love with himself, and there's no part for you in that, where you're not just a prop. You're a child, and you have this attachment to your father that you're always going to love him, right? Always. And then it's like this person came along and said, you know how you had a dad? Well, that was all a lie. And all that time, your dad didn't like being your dad. And my dad was kind of replaced by this other person. It's like my dad died when I was 11, but I didn't realise. And I've been mourning him for 40 years.
In modern social justice movements, there's a hierarchy. And it's the hierarchy of victimhood, and victimhood is the same as virtue. So the more you're a victim, the more virtuous you are, and there is nobody who's more of a victim than the trans person. His transness overshadows everything else he might do, because he's the perfect victim, the eternal victim, the totally virtuous one.